Yo, what's going on? The show is truly Nelson Quarter Show Your Work. We're doing a little impromptu, I guess, Mortal Mondays, even though it ain't Monday. But, being that Mortal Kombat 1 came out, we're back. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Shout out to AJ, shout out to AMP, shout out to my co host Larry Winston, shout out to Youngin as well. We discussed this on a book club episode, which is on our Patreon, as well as our audio feed of our podcast. Let me put the Patreon joint here now. But like I always say, $3 a month with the patreon.com/SYWNET. It's only $3 a month. Inflation went up, but our price never went up. Our price has stayed the same. So tap in with us. $3 a month. Like I said, you can watch the video version of us breaking down the book club plus this next year in fighting games because fighting games, I mean, they're back, man. Like the three big, I guess the three titans, the holy trinity of fighters is coming back this year. Obviously, we're getting Street Fighter 6. If when you hear this will be Friday, but I'm recording this on a Thursday, so it's next Friday, which is June 2nd. We get Mortal Kombat in September, and then we get Tekken hopefully later in the fall or no later than early 2024. So we have three really good games to follow up on, plus all the other games that come up via the PlayStation Showcase and everything. But today I'm here to discuss the Mortal Kombat 1 trailer, kind of break it down, give some details about it, some of my personal opinions, kind of a little bit of a discussion to things I saw when I first saw the trailer. So this isn't a first reaction. We did see the trailer. I kind of discussed it briefly on volume 127. It was very brief though, being that, the episode we were talking about a whole lot of other stuff, but I kind of wanted to give a more detailed breakdown, kind of maybe explain some things, give some of my opinions of some things that are going to happen with this new game. So like I said, this isn't a brand new breakdown of anything. I've seen this trailer. It's just after watching it like once or twice, maybe three times, reading up on some stuff, just kind of thinking of some things that happened. I just kind of wanted to watch the trailer again, kind of explain my thoughts to y'all, and then we could discuss it. Whether you follow me on Twitter at Who Is Original, all my people, if you follow the Show Your Work Discord, which will be a link in the bio as well, or you follow us on Twitter and discuss it through there. So I was gonna do this a couple of days ago, but I wanted to see what was going on with the PlayStation Showcase, which did pass. As I'm recording this was yesterday, um, the 24th. Was not sure if they were going to do gameplay at the PlayStation Showcase, but excuse me, on Tuesday the 23rd, they had announced that they were going to do the first gameplay reveal will be at Summer Games Fest, which is June 8th, which is in another 2 weeks. So it was weird because a lot of people kind of like, I guess we're like kind of like, oh, it's not at the showcase. And I'm like, but this is the timeline of how Mortal Kombat games have been released since 9. It's been the reveal came out, the first reveal comes out. There's not too much gameplay. It's just kind of an idea of what's to come with the story, how it's going to look. Then you get in. Then a couple weeks after that, you get the gameplay, and then obviously, we're gonna get a bunch of combat. What they call them, the combat cast with the NRS, the NetherRealm Studios cast members, and so on and so forth. So I didn't understand like why people were like, oh, we gotta wait 2 weeks for gameplay, and it's like the game comes out in September, and they've been working on this game longer. We've been spoiled as video game fans, and as especially Mortal Kombat fans, that we got three games in the span of 6 years, considering how long sometimes it takes to make games and so on and so forth. So for us to get all of that quickly, all those games as quickly as we did, on schedule, on time, and you knew when we got those games, what was going on with it, um, what was going on, in regards to release dates and how they were going to get revealed and rolled out. So they took their time with this. They know what they're doing, from what it looks like, and we're gonna get more information as time passes. Like the game comes out in 4 months. It's not like we have to wait 6 months to a year or wait for pushbacks or anything like that. This game is literally coming out in less than 4 months. Like September 19th, it's May 25th. This game comes out on September 19th. You'll be just fine, and I'll be just fine. So, um, but yeah, I just wanted to, kind of discuss the trailer. Obviously, we're going to get our first gameplay in 2 weeks, so I'm looking forward to that to see what's up. But we'll explain that later. How this is going to work is I'm gonna play the trailer, pause, give some little insight after the trailer, read the frequently asked questions, which is the website that they kind of gave us some more details on how the game's going to work, and then kind of some other speculation and leaks and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's get into the trailer. Let me fix my screen real quick. All right, so let's get into it. All right, and my fault. All right, perfect. Let's play this trailer. All right, let me play this. Get the volume. Make sure it sounds good. All right, cool.
It is time.
Also, if you're watching this, you already know what happens later on in the trailer. So mute it. Don't watch it. Just we won't let this play.
Time to wake up
All right. A lot of
to
people.
a new reality.
That landscape looks really nice. A lot of people, when they first showed this person's face, I kind of had a feeling it was Raiden because of the hat alone. Because
To a blank canvas
just as I let this
that I
play.
have painted in with warmth and peace.
So already off the bat, people were like, I don't know if that's Raiden. I had a feeling it was Raiden because of the hat. But as you see, this is Mortal Kombat as told by Liu Kang. Last time was Raiden trying to rectify everything. Obviously, it was a reboot, and then there's the original timeline with the first 7 games. So as you can see, everything looks a lot clearer, like compared to 11X and even 9, where just obviously we know like Mortal Kombat's like atmosphere is like dark and like dreary. I always tell the best way to describe Mortal Kombat is it's Enter the Dragon meets Star Wars. So like that aesthetic fits perfectly, but with this, you can tell it's nicer, like it's blue and greens and shit. Like you don't see a lot of that in Mortal Kombat, but that shows that this is a brand new blank canvas.
In my new era, the choice is yours.
Of course, this
Whether
is
to
coming
live
out.
in quiet serenity.
Now, to do this real quick, this I don't know if this is gonna be the Great Kung Lao as it was in the end of the MK11 Aftermath ending, or if this will be or if this is just the Kung Lao that we all know and we've just gone back into time. Now his costume looks like a mix of obviously his costume looks like a mix of MK9 and MKX. And obviously the hat is not with the blades like as we all known from Mortal Kombat 2 all the way to 11. Like this is the early. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the very first tournament where the Great Kung Lao was champion. I'm not sure if this is just around the time of MK1 and 2. But it's gonna be interesting to see. But this is when you should people but like didn't know if who the other person was rating, but this just gave it all away.
Or bloody strife.
So I'm interested to know with that whether I'm interested to know whether that is if Raiden is kind of like Liu Kang in the first couple games, where as we know, Raiden gave up his Raiden gave up being a god to fight alongside everybody because according to the rules, as Elder God and Protector of Earthrealm, he could not fight alongside them in any combat. He could help them, but he couldn't fight alongside of them. So I'm interested to know: is it kind of like Liu Kang in the first couple games, where like Raiden has a power to possess, has the power to control thunder and lightning, but is just not a god. Like he knows how to use it, kind of like Liu Kang knows how to use fire and Sub Zero with ice and Scorpion with a spear and so on and so forth. Or is this like a Raiden who's like a fucking mortal and nobody knows what he has or what he's gonna do if Liu Kang is his teacher or his overseer like Raiden was in the original timeline and the second timeline with 9X and 11, but just a question to think about. Katana's costume is fire.
To dwell in joyous prosperity.
Okay. What did I say this?
Or bitter rivalry.
All right. When I saw this, I knew Ed Boon was like, here, damn. Like, here, damn. Because the Molina army, the Molina militia from MK11 that was complaining about her not being in MK11 at all. So I know Ed Boon felt a sigh of relief when people see that trailer, and within 1 minute, Melina's here. So you guys got it. The Melina Militia, you got what you want. She's gonna be there day one. You don't got to worry about no NPC or storyline like everybody was complaining about. Katana Melina is here. But I wanted to go back into here. So as we know, I'm 99.99999% sure this is Adenia. If you didn't, and for the people who aren't too in tune with it, Adenia is where Katana is from. It's where Sindel's from, where Rain is from, where Tanya's from, Taven Dagon Argus from Mortal Kombat Armageddon. But Adenia is where they're from. Obviously, in the MK2 story from the original timeline, Katana's from Adenia. Shao Kahn conquered Adenia, attacked Adenia, conquered Adenia, and made it part of Outworld. Hence why it just looks mad dreary and ugly. But if you've played the conquest mode of Deception, you know Adenia looks like this. Like it looks mad. It's like pretty gardens are green and blue, and like it looks like like nothing has been touched. So this looks like Adenia. So I'm curious to know, when it comes to this game, is there an Outworld in this game, or is Adenia going to be an actual realm that's acknowledged and fleshed out and going to be part of something? Because we've known about Adenia. It's been mentioned in games, and the only time it's actually shown what it somewhat looked like was in the conquest mode, in both Deception and Armageddon. Being that, with Shujinko, you had to visit Adenia to get the Kamidogu, and then obviously with Taven and Dagon, they're from Adenia. So it's interesting to see this. But I also like the costumes too. Like I'll go to see if I can find Katana's real quick. But like Katana's look that's fire. Like that, and you could tell this game is very simplified, and I'll get more into that after the trailer about like how everything looks, how stripped down it is. But I'll get more into that as we pass. But that is definitely Adenia. Like I would be shocked if they called this something else, because this looks like what Adenia has looked like and would look like.
Or bitter rivalry.
Everyone's like, here, damn.
You can face each other as sworn enemies, or united as brothers.
Okay. So this is interesting. I like the Easter egg. I guess it's not an Easter egg, but a little sly nod to how Scorpion and Sub-Zero pieced it out. So in MKX's story mode, if you recall, in one of their chapters, Sub-Zero actually invites Scorpion to the Lin Kuei Temple, and he serves him tea, as kind of like a token of peace, and they kind of hash it out, talk to explain each other's grievances, so on and so forth. Sub-Zero explains how who Scorpion killed was his older brother Bihan. I'll get into that later. But as you can see, simplicity. Like their palette swaps, they both have a crest on their chest, which I'll talk about after the fact. But this is very interesting, and I like how they did a subtle nod to the MKX tea party scene, as I call it. So even though Frost tried to crash it, but shout out, I like that nod to this too.
But a storm is brewing.
And this is like Melina's Katana's personal bodyguard, because she's out of the carriage and Katana's still inside of it.
That even in this new era, one constant remains. There is always something worth fighting for.
The discretion that violence, y'all. God damn. All right, I like how that was a nod to the Mortal Kombat, the first, this past Mortal Kombat movie.
You have chosen to defy peace.
Then you have chosen war with a god.
All right. And pre-order to get Shang Tsung and beta access. All right. So to get into this, let me get this Shang Tsung while they show him as a boss. So I'm interested in this. I'm gonna tell you why. Because ever since they've done a pre-order bonus, I do not remember who MK9's was. I'm so sorry. MKX was Goro and MK11 was Shao Kahn, I think. But MK11, the pre-order bonus, the pre-order characters have either been imported characters or bosses or who were bosses at one point. But my speculation on this is interesting because Shang Tsung is a pre-order character. Shang Tsung is a pre-order character, and none of the pre-order characters have never been, even though it's been like Shang Tsung, Goro, and Shao Kahn, none of them were bosses. Shao Kahn was a sub boss. Goro was just like a major big character, but he wasn't like the final boss in the game. And now you get Shang Tsung as a pre-order bonus, as a pre-order um character, for pre-ordering the game. So I'm interested to know who is the boss in this game because I don't think it's Shao Kahn. I would be shocked if it was Goro. I think that's kind of like a buzzkill. Do we do we get the Dragon King back? Do Onaga from Deception? Because that was kind of like a little thing of legend. It's interesting. I'm really curious to know who the main boss is in this game because I would be shocked if it was Shang Tsung because, like I've said, with pre-order bonus, usually with the last three Mortal Kombat games, the pre-order characters were guys who were bosses at one point, but they were not the final boss in that respective game. They were the pre-order character. They were the pre-order bonus for. So let me go back into because I want to get into really quickly the Melina thing again. So I did break down Adenia being in Conquest. Let's go back to this. I'm gonna show her. I'm gonna show her.
Or bitter rivalry.
All right. So I'm interested in this because, as we know, in the Mortal Kombat 2 story, Katana and Melina are sisters because Shao Kahn conquered Adenia, killed King Jared, who was Katana's father. Sindel, who was Katana's mother, killed herself. Obviously, we know what happened in Mortal Kombat 3. Shao Kahn goes to Shang Tsung and makes him pretty much revive her from the dead, through necromancy or whatever you want to call it. But pretty much they revive Sindel from the dead. Sindel is evil now, considers and acknowledges Shao Kahn as her husband and king. And Sindel is evil, as we know. Same thing happened in MK9, and we know how batshit crazy she was in that game. So we know how that story goes. But it's interesting to me with this because, for one, with Melina's origin story is that Melina's origin story is pretty much she's a lab experiment. She's Shao Kahn's idea and Shang Tsung's execution, if you want to put it that way. Because if you remember in MK9, she was created in the flesh pits. Obviously, there was that costume that she was like damn near buck naked, except for tape covering the zoom and the wham whams and the nah means. Uh, so we know obviously she's a lab experiment pretty much, and Shao Kahn made Katana believe that Melina is her sister when she actually is not. She looks like Katana with some other things, but the teeth shows that she's part Tarkatan too. So same thing happened in MK2. Obviously, when the game starts, that Katana is working with Shao Kahn. She's pretty much like an assassin Then she comes to find out that Molina is actually not her sister. She was created by Shang Tsung, and Shao Kahn pretty much has defiled their family and took Sindel as his own, which is fucked up. So I'm interested to know what her origin story is. Is it something where, because from what I see here is Katana is the queen of Edenia, and Molina's like her enforcer slash protector. Kind of, and it's funny enough because I think I remember in the loot in MKX or 11 where I think he referenced Liu Kang references at one point like, yeah, I'm paraphrasing it, so like forgive me, but I'm pretty sure there was a point where he says like, oh, when in the new timeline, like you'll be able to like control your death, something like that. Like you'll be able to choose, kind of like you'll be able to change the timeline or choose what you want in the timeline, or something. And I'm paraphrasing this, so please forgive me. But continuing on with this, like it's gonna be interesting to see what her origin story is because is she like I said, Shao Kahn's idea, Shang Tsung's execution? Is she, is she actually a Tarkatan that fucking they found in Biodenia and then took her as her own? Like, how does the Melina Katana story come about? And what is Melina? Because obviously with the teeth, she's a Tarkatan, but like, how does that come about? Was she a lab experiment, or are they gonna make her like an actual, Tarkatan woman? I don't know, but it's just something, just something to think about. But let's play this a little bit further. And they both have like that fucking piercing, which is actually pretty cool. All right, so we'll get into this here. Okay, I do not know what this is on the back of Scorpion's outfit. I cannot tell if that's a dragon. I can't tell if that's the Lin Kuei logo. I don't think it is. I actually don't think so because the Lin Kuei logo is like a tribal logo.
And face each other
I'll lower this a bit.
as sworn enemies,
Okay.
or united as brothers.
I cannot tell what is on the back of. I cannot tell what is in the back of. What is on the on their across their on their heart that amulet. I don't know if that's the Lin Kuei amulet or what, because obviously if we're gonna go back to storyline here. Mortal Kombat 1, the original there was Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Scorpion was a man known as Hanzo Hasashi. Obviously, that got fleshed out later on, but he's a ninja specter or a revenant, however you want to call him, that was basically killed, reincarnated in Netherrealm, and pretty much has been under the spell of Shang Tsung and Quan Chi and pretty much every evil villain for a good amount of these games. Now, Sub-Zero, if you're familiar, in Mortal Kombat 1, Scorpion, as the story goes, Sub-Zero was there to kill Shang Tsung. Scorpion kills Sub-Zero because it was told to Scorpion that Sub-Zero is the one who killed his family and was part of killing his clan, but Sub-Zero is the one who killed his family. So Scorpion finds Sub-Zero and kills him. Now, that Sub-Zero was Bihan. If you know how the games work, Bihan died, then was reincarnated in the Netherrealm as Noob Saibot. So Noob Saibot is the original Sub-Zero, is the Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat 1. The Sub-Zero that we know ever since Mortal Kombat 2 is Bihan's younger brother, Kuai Liang. So Kuai Liang has been the Sub-Zero since MK2. So he's been the one who got the red mark on his face for trying to run. He's the one who eventually became the Grandmaster of the Lin Kuei. He's the one who's eventually been holding shit down ever since and has to fight Cyrex and Sektorov. Has been fighting Cyrex and Sektorov as well from trying to take it over. So I'm interested to know here. United as brothers is an interesting term because does that mean, and I'm trying to like break this down, because originally in according to Mortal Kombat lore, I said law, but law, same thing. The Scorpion is part of the Shirai Ryu clan. The Shirai Ryu clan is Japanese and the Lin Kuei is Chinese. The Shirai Ryu was founded by a guy named Takeda who used to be a Lin Kuei warrior. So I'm interested to know here. Are they both part of the Lin Kuei? And the Lin Kuei Shiraryu split, Takeda leaving to do the Shiraryu never happened? Is it something that they acknowledge and end up just uniting with each other? Is it not even a discussion? Like, how did this come about? Because obviously it took them damn near 10 games to work together. So I'm interested to know, how does this whole thing come up? How does this come about? Are they in the same clan? Are they from separate clans, but they decide to unite with each other for the greater common cause, for the greater good? Um, because that's just an interesting thing to me, how that's going to work. So I'm interested to know what this story is. And just to add on to what I was saying before in regards to the outfits, I like the simplicity. Like, this shows, hey, this is the first game of the series. Everything is stripped down. We're gonna, Ed Boon has kind of broken down how they're gonna change up. These characters are reimagined. Origin stories are gonna be changed. There will be some deviations from what we know from the original timeline from Mortal Kombat 1 through 7, and then obviously MK9, X, and 11. So I'm interested to see how these two come about, especially, and even Katana Molina too. But the Sub-Zero Scorpion thing is very interesting. I don't think the having them as actual brothers thing, I think that's pretty stupid to me. Maybe stupid's a brash word, but I think it's just not smart to do. I think I really enjoyed how they had the Sub-Zero Scorpion storyline for 9X and 11. So maybe it's a thing, like I said before, where the clans unite. Maybe this is, Takeda maybe never splits or runs off and forms the Shiraryu, and they're actually, this is Hanzo Asashi and Bihan, and they just happen to be in the same clan. There's just a bunch of stuff here too. But to move forward too, I kind of want to break down the terminology because there's interesting parts in here. And let me just go back to Katana Molina. So
To dwell in joyous prosperity
Parody.
or bitter
a
rivalry.
So to dwell in joyous prosperity, enjoy to yeah. I'm sorry. I'm paraphrasing literally something I heard 10 seconds ago. So pardon me. I'm gonna play that. To dwell in joyous prosperity or bitter rivalry. Okay. So this storyline, and I'll get into it when we go into the frequently asked questions, that website that they gave us, which is very informative. This seems very like you choose your destiny. No pun intended. But there's that too. And then when we go into Sub-Zero and Scorpion,
You can face each other as sworn enemies or united as brothers.
so you could face each other as sworn enemies or as united brothers. So now that I think about that, that's either there is Lin Kuei Shiraryu and either they united or they're just aligned, they're cool with each other, or they decided to roll together. So
But a storm is brewing. Soon you will discover that even in this new era, one constant remains. There is always something worth fighting for.
okay, so I'm not gonna play that part. But there's that too. There's always something worth fighting for. So I feel like with Liu Kang, and I'll go into the end when he's just posing, but I'll go into this. So I feel like this is kind of like I made this piece, everybody's cool, but if you choose to mess with it, like, it's hands on sight. I'm not gonna be meek like Raiden was for a long time until he lost his shit and got crazy. So I feel like Liu Kang is like, and the thing is, like, Liu Kang could be the new Dark Raiden, I guess, in regards to personality, but that is Liu Kang's personality anyway. where it was like he would try to be peaceful, but at the one smidge of there's a threat, he's there's a fight going on. So I'm interested to see how Liu Kang is being that Liu Kang is the new fire god and the creator of this timeline, how he governs everything. So, but there is that. But I just realized that too. Like, look how simple the costume is. Like, it's everything is white and like the logo is grass and like beautiful looking and light. Whereas you've seen all the past games, they're all darker and like more grim looking. So, but let me stop sharing this and let's get into. Let's show this on the stream. Let's get the frequently asked questions up. So, what type of game is Mortal Kombat 1? They actually had a FAQ, which is pretty cool. So, Mortal Kombat 1 is the latest title in the acclaimed Mortal Kombat video game franchise developed by award-winning NetherRealm Studios. The game will introduce a reborn Mortal Kombat universe that has been created by the fire god Liu Kang, featuring reimagined versions of iconic characters as they've never been seen before, along with the new fighting system, game modes, bone-crushing finishing moves, and more. So that kind of is pretty self-explanatory. This is Liu Kang's Mortal Kombat. The reimagined versions of characters, as you can see, you could tell this is a new thing because like if you see like how they looked in 9X and 11, like they had these fucking teched out costumes and shit. Like it looked like they was wearing Nike dry fit and Under Armour to go fight. But like with these, like you could tell Scorpion and Sub-Zero look like palette swaps, which I think is cool. If you really want to hit home, like this is a reborn timeline. And this is a brand new universe, or as it could be called, the Luniverse, because it's Liu Kang's universe. I know it's corny, but if we're doing this reborn timeline and they're reimagined versions, and you can just tell everything is stripped down. Like Kung Lao doesn't have the hat with the blade. Scorpion and Sub-Zero, their masks are a little different, but they have the almost the same outfit, just in different colors with subtle differences. Katana and Melina, same thing. They have it's something as small as having seams on your mask that shows like how stripped down this game really is, which is cool. But new fighting system, which I'm interested to see. We'll find out in 2 weeks. Game modes, bone crushing finishing moves. I'm assuming that's fatalities and more. Then who is developing Mortal Kombat 1? All versions of Mortal Kombat 1 are built on NetherRealm Studios technology with oversight by NetherRealm. The NetherRealm team is developing the PS5 and Xbox Series versions of the game. QLock or QLOC is developing Steam and Epic Game Store versions of the game. Shiver Entertainment and Saber Interactive are developing the Nintendo Switch version of the game. And I think both of those companies did X and 11 at one point too. X and 11 in their own respective ways. Who's publishing Mortal Kombat 1? Warner Brothers Games. When does Mortal Kombat 1 release? Scheduled for worldwide release on September 19th, 2023. So let's scroll down a little bit more. Will Mortal Kombat 1 be available for early access? Players who purchase Mortal Kombat 1 Premium Edition or Mortal Kombat 1 Collector's Editions will have early access to the game beginning September 14th, 2013, which I think is pretty cool. So it's pretty much in the sense of the pre-order, which I will be doing. I will definitely be pre-ordering this. So, excuse me. The 14th is the Thursday before that Tuesday where it comes out. So you're going to get, so if you pre-order this game, whether it's the premium or the collector's edition, you get to play the game 5 days early before it has its worldwide official release. Obviously, the game will be available on the PS5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, and PC. It will be available via the Steam and Epic Games Store. So how much does Mortal Kombat 1 cost? The Mortal Kombat 1 Standard Edition will be available physically and digitally for $69.99 on PS5, Xbox, Switch, and PC. The Premium Edition will be available physically and digitally for $109.99. And this will include all Standard Edition content along with the Combat Pack, early access to the game beginning September 14th, and 1,250 Dragon Crystals, which is in-game currency. That's interesting because that makes me wonder, is there a crypt in this game? Just something to think about. The Combat Pack will feature a Johnny Cage character skin with the likeness of famed actor and martial artist Jean-Claude Van Damme, which will be available at launch, which is interesting. early access to 6 new playable characters available post-launch, and 5 new cameo fighters available post-launch. I will answer that cameo fighters, or try to answer that cameo fighters question later. So the John Claude Van Damme thing is pretty cool. It's a nice nod to the beginning of Mortal Kombat because the game underwent a bunch of title changes and looks before it was finally called Mortal Kombat. And they wanted John Claude Van Damme in the game, but he did not do it because, of course, he was the man at the time, and Midway was just up and coming. They really just couldn't get John Claude Van Damme on speed dial. So Johnny Cage is actually kind of like a satirical, comical flip of John Claude Van Damme. So it's pretty funny that we're gonna get a John Claude Van Damme skin for Johnny Cage 30 years after the first game came out. Then we get to the collector's edition, which will be available physically at select retailers for $249.99, only for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, and will include all the premium edition content, early access, along with a 16.5-inch Liu Kang sculpture designed by Corse, and an inspired Liu Kang in-game character skin, 3 exclusive art prints, a steel case, and 1450 additional Dragon Crystals, which will put you at 2,700 total before you even play the game. So there's that. Where there'll be opportunities to play Mortal Kombat 1 before the release, players who pre-order the game on PS5 and Xbox Series will receive access to the Mortal Kombat 1 beta, which will be available, in August 2023. So if you pre-order the premium edition, or pretty much if you pre-order the game, there's a beta in August, which is pretty dope. Which characters will be available in Mortal Kombat 1? Mortal Kombat 1 will feature reimagined fighters like they've never been seen before, including Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, Kung Lao, Katana Melina, Shang Tsung, Johnny Cage, and many others. That's interesting because Johnny Cage isn't, like, I don't know if that's like a joke or tongue-in-cheek, because like he wasn't in the Mortal Kombat 1 movie, and like now he's not even in this, but he's gonna be in the game. So I'm interested to see how Johnny Cage goes and gets into this game, considering what this, granted, it's only 2 minutes and 30 seconds showed us, but that's going to be an interesting theory to see who else goes in here. What are cameo fighters and how do they work in Mortal Kombat 1? Cameo fighters are a unique roster of partner characters to assist during matches, creating expanded gameplay possibilities for players. These characters are chosen separately from the main roster of fighters. So that's interesting because cameo fighters sounds like if I'm thinking of cameo fighters, cameo means assist to me. So that makes me think of like the striker character or assist characters from King of Fighters, a couple King of Fighters games. It even reminds me more of the assist characters from the first Marvel versus Capcom, where it was tag team, and then you press the button and the assist character will come out and do a move, which would add to the combo. Obviously, MVC2 had that also. Or even deeper, the PlayStation 1 version of Marvel vs. Capcom 1, where because of the limitations, it was only one-on-one fighting, but you still had an assist character. So it's interesting to know, are cameo fighters guys you can choose? Excuse me. Is there like a cameo fighters roster and then like a main character roster? Are some cameo fighters going to be able to be main characters? Are you going to be able to choose them? I mean, it's a main character, excuse me. Like there's so much that is interesting with that because I'm not sure. Like this is cool that you can assist during matches and expanding gameplay possibilities, but it's just interesting to know, are you going to be able to choose those guys as actual characters, or are they only subject to cameo fighters? And excuse me, that's going to be an interesting point of contention because we already know there's going to be a character or two that's going to be just a cameo fighter, and the fucking FGC or people in the FGC are going to complain to Ed Boon till the cows come home about, why is this person a cameo fighter? Why was he not a regular character? We already know that's going to happen. So I'm interested to see, and I'm looking forward to how they further explain that and whether those people will actually be part of the story or part are characters, or are they just going to be strictly just there as assist characters? Because I can already see like they put like fucking Ermac there or something, and like the uproar because Ermac is a very good character. Like I feel like Reptile could be a cameo fighter because like people don't use Reptile like that. He's kind of like the jobber of Mortal Kombat. Like I'm sorry to be rude, but it's also true. But yeah, cameo fighters is very interesting. Like if you choose Sub Zero, is Scorpion your cameo fighter? Like, can you choose him and vice versa, or do you know how does that work? Katana, Melina being together, it's just a bunch of interesting things. Um, and then to add on to that, there was a supposedly leaked thing I had here too. Supposedly, Amazon Italy had accidentally leaked the Combat Pack One roster for MK1. Again, this is from Amazon Italy. The six playable characters would be Quan Chi. I don't know. I'm tired of Quan Chi. He don't really do shit. Omni Man, Ermac, Peacemaker, Takeda, and Homelander. Peacemaker and Homelander obviously are. I think one of them is a Warner Brothers property. The other one isn't. But the Takeda thing is interesting too because I just brought up how the founder of the Shirai Ryu was a man named Takeda who was part of the Lin Kuei. So there's that also. Like I'm really curious to know like how this works. Then we get into this, and I went to this tab really quickly. So these are the six people. The five cameo characters are Tremor, Johnny Cage being shown as a guy who's going to be in the game as one of the characters and get his own skin but be a cameo fighter doesn't add up to me. That seems very, I don't know, that just seems very counter, that just seems very counterproductive. And the logic is just the logic it just varies to me. That makes no sense. Chameleon with a K, which okay. Movado, what the fuck? Movado. Who what why do we need Movado in this? I don't know. But anywho, Sherman, Johnny Cage, Chameleon, Movado, Farah, and John Claude Van Damme skin. So let's go back to this. Why would Movado be in here? I do not know. That sounds incredibly stupid. To me, I think that's just because they're trying to get a 3D era character back in the game because there's always been this narrative, I guess, if you want to call it a narrative, where a lot of people think that Ed Boon and John Tobias and like the NetherRealm people do not like the 3D era characters because if you really sit down and think about it, the only 3D era character that has really gotten love, like constant gameplay exposure, is a fan favorite in the community is Kenshi. Like, because I'm really thinking about every character from Deadly Alliance to Deception to Armageddon, and really it's Kenshi. That's it. Kenshi's really the main character out of the 3D era that has been featured extensively in Mortal Kombat. There's been some that are mentioned that people want to come back. Like obviously, like I said before, a lot of people are theorizing that Onaga is going to be the boss of this game or could be the boss of this game. That who's the Dragon King. You have Havoc from Chaos Realm, who's the character that people are getting brought up. There's like a rumor leak that says he would get featured. Asher from Deception would get featured, and Natara. Now the Natara thing, I'm like, why? But then like, I don't know if they're trying to have some continuity with the movies, but at the same time, in the Mortal Kombat movie that came out during the pandemic, Natara was in it, and I'm like, she didn't fucking debut until the fifth game. Why is she in the beginning with everybody? I was confused, but maybe they're trying to have some continuity from film to game or an ounce of continuity. I don't personally know, but listen, man, I am making the game Ed Boon is and NetherRealm Studio is. So there's that. But yeah, that's my little spill. And yeah, like look at this. Johnny Cage is being featured. I don't think he'd be featured as a cameo fighter, but I would be, if he is, hey, it is what it is. So let's see here. What type of modes will Mortal Kombat 1 have? NetherRealm's genre-defining story mode with a brand new cinematic narrative featuring unexpected twists on classic rivalries and original backstories for the wide-ranging cast of legendary fighters. More details for online and offline will be coming soon. So with the story mode, I'm interested to know how that's gonna work because we can either stick with the chapter story mode, which is cool, but at the same time, I can also see it being like a conquest type of thing. Not as free worldish, but like something where like instead of you just going chapter to chapter, like it's you going to X person and maybe there's side missions or something, which would be pretty cool. And I think they could do it. But the unexpected twist on classic rivalries and backstories, like I said before, where Liu King says you can either fight as sworn enemies or unite as brothers, and with Katana where he says you dwell in joyous prosperity or bitter rivalry. So I feel like if I'm just theorizing or trying to theorize, theorizing even a word, or just trying to think of like a theory or think of just how this story mode could work, I feel like this could be. I don't think if it's a chapter, I don't think it'll be like with some of the chapters where there was two characters where it was like, all right, yeah, you just choose which one you about to do. Like in MK11 was it's like the Shao Kahn chapter, like you just choose who you want to fight as or Sub Zero or Scorpion. I feel like it could be a very like there's these characters in the story, and whatever you choose, no matter whatever variation you choose leads to a unique ending or leads to some type of ending. Like everybody has a different road, like no pun intended, like it says in Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat 4, choose your destiny, where you choose the tower and trilogy. So I feel like it could be a choose your destiny type of thing where like you start at one point and then you fight this person or you choose to fight who you want to fight, and then from there you build on upon that, and then like there's a unique ending showing what your origin story is. So I'm interested to know, and I'm interested in the story mode, and I feel like that's what this trailer was. A lot of people are like, "Oh, where's the gameplay?" And I'm like, dude, mostly reveal trailers don't show gameplay. It's just a preview of what's to come. It's to show characters, how the game looks, excuse me, what the aesthetic of it is, what's the feeling. And as you can see, like this is a new timeline. Like I stated before, look at how Sub Zero and Scorpion looked in MK9, X, and 11, and now look, and then you see them now. Like it's stripped down, and they're damn near palace swaps like they were in the old games. Katana Molina, same thing. They have more stripped down looks. Kung Lao has a stripped down look. Raiden, Shang Tsung, even though granted Shang Tsung's younger, and I think with Shang Tsung and Liu Kang, I think both. Granted, even though this is a new story, I think some things carried over from Aftermath, whereas both storylines or timelines were right. So maybe yes, the Liu Kang one looks like what it's going to be, where Liu Kang is, you know, excuse me, is explaining everything, but or kind of I'm being controlling everything and is the one who created the timeline, but Shang Tsung might still be a part of it as kind of like a necessary evil. Like I'm not sure how they could do that, but I think there's certain things that they took and elements they took from Aftermath that led to this brand new timeline. But what we're gonna get from this game forward is gonna be something brand new. Um, and I just think it's gonna. I'm interested to see how the backstory start, how they're gonna go with that. Being that, like I said, this game looks like a very bare bones, stripped down Mortal Kombat compared to what we saw from 9X and 11, and even the first one. So, like I said, even like the aesthetic, like everything is white and blue. It's not just like black and brown and red and like dreary looking, except obviously when Shang Tsung popped around. Yeah, internet connection, whatever. Yeah, of course. What is it? Mortal Kombat 1 will have rollback netcode, which is pretty good for for online play. So that's pretty much what I have here. Now, in regards to like what I'm kind of writing this down. Um, I really think that there's a lot they can do with this. I think there's gonna be a lot of just immersive. This is gonna be a more like the gameplay, yes, is gonna get changed. I'm interested to see what the speed of the gameplay is because to me, I hope it's more like 9, like the speed of 9 and X compared to 11. Because granted, 11 is not a bad game at all. There's nothing about I actually love 11 storyline. And I like how it ended, but I feel like 11's gameplay is a little bit slower than 9 and X. And a lot of people love how 9 and X play. Like 9 is my second favorite game in the series. My first is Mortal Kombat 2. So I love how 9 plays. I love how um I like how X play, how the gameplay in X was speed, was has some speed to it too. I feel like 11 was a little bit more like slow down and like more like methodical compared to like 9 and X, where you had to really think on your toes and have a quicker type of gameplay. But I will say though, I do think I really hope that this, with the cameo fighters, that's going to be such an interesting dynamic. But I really hope that it has the speed of. I hope that it's in the same tempo and speed for 9 and X when it comes to the gameplay. But that story mode is going to be interesting. I think this game is really going to focus on the story more than anything, because this is a new timeline. This is the third. This is Mortal Kombat. Like I said, Mortal Kombat as told by Liu Kang. So this is going to be interesting to see how they work everything out, how they bring these, how they reimagine these characters. You know, do you have Sub Zero and Scorpion back at it again? Katana, Melina. I'm interested to know what other characters come about this, because they could do this a bunch of different ways. There's a lot. I like how they did this, where yes, there are elements that influence this new timeline, but they're not home. It doesn't seem there are elements from 11 and Aftermath in the last timeline that we obviously know influenced this to happen, but you can tell that they're starting with a new slate, and that they're not going to be influenced or try to rewrite what happened in 9X and 11. Like they know 9X and 11 was their respective timeline, and they're leaving it there. And that's the thing too. A lot of people were like very weird about, like, oh, but so like 9X and 11 didn't happen. It's like, no, they did happen. Like Armageddon is the reason why 9 happened. Like, granted, 9 was a rewrite of, or a retcon, or a reboot, however you want to call it, of MK1, 2, and 3 rolled in one from Mortal Kombat 9. But you can tell that the events of Mortal Kombat Armageddon influenced MK9 and are the foundation, but it wasn't, they didn't add on to it. It's just they acknowledge what happened in Armageddon started or led to the timeline being rewritten, and obviously the retcon. And I think the same is going to happen with Aftermath, where like there are certain things in Aftermath that got us to this point, but they're not going to play an influence or be a major part of what happens in this game. We just know that we have a brand new timeline. Liu Kang is the fire god, and we're having Liu Kang versus Shang Tsung as deities, pretty much, because of what happened in Aftermath. But nothing that happened in Aftermath is gonna spill over into MK1. So that's the interesting part too. But um I'm looking forward to this game, man. Like, as a Mortal Kombat fan, as you can see, I'm wearing I got my MK2 shirt. Shout out to Superbot Cope. Shout out to Cope who restocked these two. So hopefully y'all got them. But I'm looking forward to this. I think they did a good job, for the little that we got, the 2 minutes and 30 seconds that some people were trying to overanalyze, and try to be negative about. I think we got enough. This is like, hey, this is what the storyline is. This is what it's gonna look like. This is what's gonna happen. And obviously with Combat Cast and Summer Games Fest 2 weeks from now, with the gameplay reveal, we're gonna get a lot. We're gonna get a lot more information. We got a couple months, but I really, I feel confident in the fact that, considering that, you know, with MK9X and 11, they did everything in 2 year windows and gave us great games. I have no lost confidence in NRS that like they took some extra time to make this game and get it right. So, like I said, I'm really looking forward to the story. And the reason why is because yes, I like playing online. This is not, and I like playing online. Obviously, shout out to the union, shout out to AJ and of course Larry. When Youngin and Winston get to play in the our fans, our people in the community. We'll have the Fight Academy where everybody can fight and play online. But for me, as a single player, because I just like to turn the game on and play still. I'm one of those people. I'm not. I don't like games that I have to depend on online to do it. That's why I didn't even play Street Fighter 5 that much. Because when I turned on the game and it was vanilla, like it was fucking two characters and an arcade mode that was 4 stages and that's it. And I'm like, that's it. Then we had to wait a year to get a story mode and then get what we should have gone from day one. And I understand that's the new culture, but for me, maybe I'm the old man yelling at the cloud. I like when I could pop the game in, it loads, and I could play a mode that'll take some time off that I could play for single player content. So I'm still a single player content fan. So I'm really looking forward to see if this game, and especially the story mode, really plays a major part. And I think it will. I hope it does, and I honestly think it will, being the fact that this is the new game, we're in a new timeline, and stories and foundations have to be made for future games. So I think it's gonna be okay. I'm looking forward. I'm honestly looking forward to the story most. I'm looking forward to see, as somebody who likes the Mortal Kombat lore and has read it, and obviously when I stream Mortal Mondays, I discussed both, you know, the old timeline of one to Armageddon, and then the new timeline of this past timeline, excuse me, of 9X and 11. I'm looking forward to what the Luniverse uh has to hold, it has for for us as fans and everything. So I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. Um, I don't really have like concerns. They're just more like I'm curious. It's more curiosity than a concern. A lot of people are saying, oh, like I'm concerned about game. I'm concerned about this or concerned about this, and I don't think for me, It's not really concerns. It's more curiosity than concerns. And I know, obviously, like I said, the next 4 months we're gonna get that through Summer Games Fest with the gameplay. We'll get it with the combat cast with Boone and the whole NRS crew. Um, we're gonna get a whole bunch of stuff. I know we know how, if you've seen how the rollouts for the last three MK Mortal Kombat's are, granted this one took a little bit longer than usual, but when they reveal it, the game comes out in no more than 6 months. So this game is pretty much done. They know what they want to reveal. They know what they're gonna give us. And honestly, man, I think this is gonna be great. It's just crazy seeing Liu Kang as now the overseer of everything. But um, I'm looking forward to see what can happen here. Like I said, I don't know who the big boss is. I'm really curious to know that. I'm curious to know now with these reimagined characters and how they redo some of these storylines. Um, I think there's some things that are better. They don't need to really change much. Like I hope, like I said, with Sub Zero and Scorpion, they don't do their actual brothers thing. I think that will kind of that. I mean, granted, like I like what they did with 1 through 7, with the original timeline and this previous timeline, but I just think that kind of would just be a little bit weird. I'm not gonna lie. But otherwise, this is gonna be a great game. I think September 19th. I'm gonna pre-order the premium edition. Um, Obviously to get the combat packs and all the beta access and everything like that, because I'm really looking forward to see how they're gonna change the gameplay. If they're gonna change the gameplay, how the speed of the gameplay is gonna be, how the game's gonna look, with stages. Like the only stages we saw was the fucking tea house with Sub Zero and Scorpion were at. And that's the thing too with the last couple of trailer reviews. It's like there's one fight. It doesn't really show gameplay. It just shows how the characters look and the stage that and we got three of them technically. I mean, maybe four, because we start in that field. I don't know where that field is. Maybe that's Earthrealm. Don't know, but there was that. There was Adenia, or I think it's Adenia, but Adenia or Katana Molina were. So maybe there's a stage like that, because it looks like, if you really think about it too, and now that I'm looking like how the architecture looked, and I know this sounds so my 7 degrees of separation, it looks like the wasteland from Mortal Kombat 2, like where it's just purple and dark and brown and just drab looking. Like that looks like Adania before Shao Kahn took it over and made it part of Outworld. So maybe Adania is a stage. We have an Adanian stage in this game, and then also the other one. The other is maybe like that. I don't know, tea house. I don't know where that is, where Scorpion and Sub Zero are together, or if it's the Lin Kuei Temple. Don't know. Interesting, interesting kind of thing there. But yeah, I just like how this game looks. I like how it's kind of it's gonna continue the story, but with its own new twist. You know, there's continuity, but the continuity is not gonna influence how this timeline's gonna play out. And I like the contrast in style, like the covers white, like it's little things like that, like the costumes being simplistic. Everything is more simplistic with stages, how everybody looks. Like that's just going to be interesting to see what the origin and background stories are, and how they're going to do story mode. So either way, I'm gonna be okay. I would hope that it's more like immersive, like kind of you walk around and find people to fight, like a conquest. If they do chapters, I would be shocked. I would be shocked, but I wouldn't be like disappointed or just like angry about it. Like because they could go either way with it. But I think the immersive mode where you could kind of choose your own path and end the story on your own accord, where there's different endings to everybody, like that's going to be pretty interesting. So there's a lot that we do not know. There's a lot we're about to find out in the next 4 months. Gameplay comes in 2 weeks, so this is going to be a fun summer, man. While everybody's playing Street Fighter, and while we playing Street Fighter, we're also going to get information about MK1. Obviously, Tekken coming soon, but all in all, this is just a quick trailer breakdown of the trailer, and kind of just my personal opinions, feelings, discussions, questions, curiosities. Like I said, they're not really concerns, but more curiosities. But listen, man, this is going to be a good summer with a lot of good review, with a lot of good information. And September 19th, man, this is going to be. I think this is going to be another good game that we get. But listen, otherwise, man, you see the ticker below. Patreon.com/SYWNET. $3 a month, whole lot of content aside from the post games where we record after our weekly episodes every Thursday at 9 p.m. If you're a patron, you have access to kind of hang out with us where we talk for another hour, just chop it up about whatever in the post game, which happens after every episode. Like I said, we have a whole lot of content in there as well. We have the book club where we just talk about video games more extensively, comic books. We have anime club now. Shout out to Laia for that. Shout out to Moa Earl. We got Fearless Leader, the Fearless Leader podcast. We have a whole lot of content on that page. But otherwise, if you just want to follow us directly, follow us on all platforms at SYWNET. The Instagram is SYW_NET, and we are on Twitch. We broadcast on Twitch as well every Thursday at 9 o'clock. But otherwise, man, that's just my breakdown of of the Mortal Kombat 1 trailer for Mortal Mondays. And we'll get some Mortal Mondays coming back soon. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll bring that back to stream some MK1 when the game comes out. But otherwise, man, just follow us on all our platforms. We will be talking about this more often. And when there's any other news, you'll probably see me tweeting it, probably from the Show Your Word Twitter. Or if there's any other news and we would decide to make more content, just tap in with us. Follow, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. But otherwise, listen, man, we appreciate it. Again, this is just my breakdown, just my thoughts about the MK1 trailer. And listen, man, we'll see what happens in 2 weeks, and then we'll see what happens September 19th.